Hello, my name is Sal Tonge and I'm a storyteller, a musician and a collector of oral bric-a-brac. And I'm really happy to be presenting today as part of Folk Community Group's Kindful Cafe project. This has been made possible with funding from the Lotteries Community Fund. Today I want to think about a chapter in this important book, Shropshire Folklore, which was edited by Charlotte Byrne and largely based on gleanings and collections of Georgina Jackson. The chapter I want to think about is the chapter about ballads, and as a musician I've often been asked, do I ever sing any songs from this book? And the simple answer is no. I've often found the ballads far too bloody, far too gory, far too macabre and very often misogynistic. So I decided to spend a bit of time with that chapter and find a palatable ballad, and I did. And the ballad that I want to think about today is called Nothing at All. I love it. I've fallen in love with it because rather than there being a victim and a cruelty, there's a mutuality and there's a certain timeless quality in this ballad, for we've all been in a position where we felt absolutely tongue-tied. Try making one of these videos, for example. This ballad, Nothing at All, was submitted to the project from an unnamed resident in a village not too far from where I live in South Shropshire called Pulverbatch. It was submitted to the project in 1886. Well, I did a little bit of research and I found out that the ballad Nothing at All actually had a published life, and it did exist as what was known as a broadside. Broadsides were cheaply produced single sheets of words, songs, news, a little bit like a meme would be now on Facebook, or a video that goes viral, or a photo that everybody shares on their social media. These were cheaply produced, single side printed on the plethora of printing presses that were flooding the nation. And also, if you think about it, people were becoming more literate, and so they were able to look at these broadsides that would be maybe posted up on a wall or sold for a penny on a street corner, and that's how they learned their songs. That's how things got passed on. Well, the broadside where Nothing at All was printed the broadside was printed by a company called Poets Box in 1855, and interestingly, Poets Box were based in Glasgow. So I've spent a bit of time wondering, how did that song travel from Glasgow all the way to Pulverbatch, only to end up in Shropshire Folklore? Well, the broadsides were often set up as a series of lyrics, and they were to be sung to the tune of a traditional tune like, say, Greensleeves. And I decided for the project that I would create a new tune for this old ballad called Nothing at All. And the other thing that really appeals as well is that if you think about it, musical was in its heyday, and there is more than a nod to the music hall genre with this comic song. And I want to precede it with a riddle. What's greater than God? Worse than the devil? Dead men eat it, and live men die if they eat it. In Derry down Dale, when I wanted a mate, a courting I went with my father to Kate, with my posies so trim and my holiday clothes, my hands in my pocket, a courting I goes. And I was so loving and daffish withal, my tongue stuck to my mouth, and I said nothing at all. Well, the weather was cold, but my bosom was hot, my heart in a gallop, my mare of a trot. And when I got there I looked lumpish and glum, the knocker I held between finger and thumb. Trip-trap went the rapper, and Kate showed her chin. She duckled and chuckled, I bowed and went in, but I was as bashful could be, and Kitty, poor soul, was as bashful as me. I blushed and I smiled and I let my hat fall, and I bowed scratched my head and said nothing at all. If bashful I was, no less bashful the maid. She simpered and blushed with her apron strings played, until the old folks, just to have the thing done, agreed little Kitty and I should be one. And soon the young people, we nodded consent, and hand in hand to the church we went. We answered the parson in voices so small: love, honour, obey, and nothing at all. Well, mark, with a change in the course of a week, little Kate left off blushing. I boldly could speak, I could play with my dearie, laugh loud at a jest. I could coax, play and fondle as well as the best. We laughed at past follies and oft times declared we'd encourage young folk who at wedlock were scared. To us for assurance and aid they may call, and then kiss and be married and nothing at all. Oh, nothing at all, oh, nothing at all. It's all about nothing at all, oh, nothing at all, oh, nothing at all. Just kiss, be married, and nothing at all. So what's greater than God? What's worse than the devil? Dead men eat it, and live men die if they eat it. The answer is nothing at all.